Knowing now what happened in Libya when a storm barreled through, it's really bizarre looking at headlines from about a week earlier when Storm Daniel was wreaking havoc in Greece, Turkey, and Bulgaria to the northeast. And take note of the numbers. A biblical catastrophe. Death toll rises to 6. Greece, Storm Daniel, death toll rises to 10. Death toll rises to 12. Then the storm hits Libya.
Entire neighborhoods wiped out by sudden catastrophic flooding.
It is now believed and feared that as many as 20,000 people may be dead.
How on earth does a storm with casualties in the low double digits end up killing thousands in Libya just a week later? This is a story of neglect, of endless internal strife, of a country entirely unprepared. This is how Libya's preoccupation with war left it so incredibly vulnerable. This is what a city looks like when somewhere between 30 and 100 million cubic meters of water rips through. You know, I don't even know how to contextualize that amount of water in a way that anyone would be able to relate to, except to say that it was enough to obliterate about a quarter of the Libyan city of Derna, population 100,000 people.
Roadways torn apart, buildings, vehicles, people swept away.
The critical failure was a dam that, according to the local deputy mayor, wasn't built to withstand this kind of flooding. Nowhere close, never stood a chance. Stormwater forced its way through, rushing downstream and building up like a time bomb behind a second dam. That one failed too. But this wasn't just bad luck. According to the deputy mayor, the dam had not been maintained for more than 20 years. There was no evacuation plan, no warning system in place, just the sound of both dams bursting. Which begs the question, how was Derna so unprepared, so neglected?
By 2011, we have to look at the international scene around Libya, especially the Arab Spring.
They were seen as revolutions, and they made the right atmosphere for something to happen in Libya.
Since 2011 and the toppling of a 40-year dictator in Muammar Gaddafi, Libya never truly recovered. It's been plagued by militia conflict, and attempts to rebuild a democratic state failed.
The fall of Muammar Gaddafi's regime created that vacuum of power led to the surfacing and the presence of a number of armed factions, a number of political leaders who wanted to lead the country, and led to the split actually between the east of the country and the west of the country.
In 2014, after years of political deadlock, the outbreak of a new civil war. Two rival governments would vie for power, one based in the west, in the capital, Tripoli, and the other based in the east, backed by the Libyan National Army.
Unidentified warplanes have been reported flying over the Libyan capital, Tripoli. Many residents said explosions could be heard.
There were repeated attempts from the international community to broker some kind of peace deal.
The United Nations has been trying to bring the warring parties in Libya together for more than 1 year.
We have now a text that it's a final text. So our part of the process is now finished.
Except it wasn't. Talks failed. Fighting restarted. And too often, civilians were caught in the crossfire. As recently as 2020, the Army's eastern forces carried out a direct attack on the country's capital. Homes, hospitals were destroyed. The offensive lasted almost an entire year. The UN figures nearly 300 civilians were killed, 2,000 combatants dead, with 140,000 people displaced.
This was Derna at the end of last month. Hundreds chanting their allegiance to ISIS and its leader.
You heard right, allegiance to ISIS. That clip was from a news story in 2014, peak civil war and an opportunity for extremist groups to plant a flag. The headline, ISIS comes to Libya.
Now they have their own education system, they have judicial system, they have police, they call it Islamic police, yes. So they control the city from both sides, like from a social point of view and from a military point of view as well.
By 2015, ISIS had established a base of operations in Derna, the city now destroyed by flooding. So Eastern government forces had their hands tied, fighting not just the forces in Tripoli, but also rogue forces in its own backyard. And it was even bigger than that. By some estimates, more than 1,600 armed groups were operating in Libya, all of them fighting for power, fighting for influence.
We're talking about ISIS coming into a very big and coastal city, Sirte, and of course in East Libya and Derna and Benghazi. And that of course created some kind of like extremist atmosphere in Libya.
When you add it all up, Libya has seen more than a decade of internal conflict, a cycle of retribution that was constantly fed, not just from within, but by outside forces as well. Over time, neighboring countries have taken sides. The Eastern government has found friends in Egypt, Russia, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, even France. The West, meanwhile, has much broader international backing, recognized by the UN, aided directly by countries like Turkey, Qatar, and Italy. Mercenaries, soldiers, foreign fighters, weapons, drones. Libya has been flooded by outside intervention, and international considerations continue to hamper any kind of internal cooperation to this day. International efforts to send rescue teams have to go through the Tripoli-based government, according to one Libya analyst. So that means with the latest flooding, there are two layers of permissions for outsiders wanting to help. One through the internationally recognized government, just, to get inside the country, and then another to get into the most affected areas, like Derna in the east, under rival control.
So the Libyan institutions are equipped with military tools, military might. There's no attention for the infrastructure, and this is actually impacting what's going on now in eastern Libya, especially in Derna. So there is nobody trained to respond to natural disasters like Storm Daniel, and that led to the increase of the number of deaths caused by the floods.
There is no single reason Libya was so vulnerable. The torrential downpour was unprecedented for the country, well over a foot of rain in a matter of hours. There's a huge logistical component too. Bridges destroyed, roads washed out. It's no wonder so many devastated communities say they've waited days for help with little to no assistance from their governments.
So what should have happened is that this Eastern government that is directly involved in there should have evacuated the people who are more vulnerable to this disaster.
Even aid groups have only recently started trickling in.
We are still looking for victims. We call on all young Libyans, anyone who has a degree or any medical affiliation, to please come help us. We have a shortage in nurses. We need help.
But Libya is also a country gutted by years of chaos and division. Its war economy has left so many other things in tatters. There are shortages in basic supplies, power outages are common, infrastructure left to crumble. There's barely a functioning hospital in the very same city that bore the worst of the flood's destructive power.
Mass graves have been dug and are now being filled with bodies, helping the injured just as urgent a task.
Every year, an independent nonprofit based in Washington publishes a Fragile States Index. You can think of it as a detailed measure of the world's weaknesses and vulnerability. This year, Libya was considered more fragile than Ukraine, a country embroiled in war, tens of thousands dead on its soil, industries crippled, crops destroyed, and that measure was taken before these floods.